Hello, welcome back my fellow lifestyle enthusiast, and if you're new, I'm Linné, and you should probably know that I am obsessed with all things lifestyle and how they impact your overall health and well-being. Today we're going to discuss my take on Botox, and I aim to provide you with perspective that you perhaps haven't heard before. This is part one of a two-part series. In the next video, I'll discuss fillers. But for now, as a physician who sees patients in a medical day spa, I am often asked about ways to age gracefully and to slow down the hands of time. But most often, new patients are interested in learning more about Botox and fillers. So my goal in this video is not to convince you that you need them or that you have to try them. My objective is to help you to understand their purpose so you can talk more intelligently about what you prefer and do so with your practitioner or with your friends. I want to help you make a more informed decision when considering your options and help you figure out what's best for you. In addition, I want to be transparent with my YouTube family here about what I personally do and what I've noticed. I want to stop the stigma of Botox and fillers and create a safe, open environment here on YouTube for us to discuss such things. So if you're ready to talk shop with me today, then keep an open mind and feel free to click that red subscribe button to give this video a thumbs up, and hang on because we're going to discuss some of my favorite stuff today. Have you ever watched a reality TV show and thought to yourself, she has way too much Botox? Have you ever wondered why people either love it or hate it? Have you been curious about what it does, but you feel that experimenting may be too vain of a thing to do? Perhaps you secretly judge men and women who get Botox and fillers because you think it's very unnatural. In fact, I used to think that way as well. And when I first started working in the medical aesthetics realm, I believed these things, but most of us really don't know what's truly working when it comes to medical aesthetics. When I was in my 20s and 30s, I didn't know much about Botox and fillers. In fact, none of my friends tried it or talked about it. And now that I'm in my 40s, it's a little more common, but I've noticed that with some folks in their 20s and 30s, they see it more as part of their routine. You get your nails done, you get your hair colored, your teeth bleached, regular facials, you get your lash extensions, and you get your Botox. On the flip side, women in their 40s and older tend to discuss their beauty maintenance a little bit less. And I'm told that some women feel that it's a little bit more vain to discuss their injectables, even with their significant other. So there is definitely a generational difference in how we approach these things. So I want to pull back the veil a little bit and to allow you to make an educated decision that's really best for you. Let's talk neuromodulators. The most common brand that we hear about is Botox. There are three common neuromodulators on the market right now: Botox, Dysport, and Xeomin, with a few emerging products that have recently been released. For the sake of simplicity, let's use Botox, just as Kleenex is the brand that we use to describe facial tissue. So Botox will be what we discuss for the neuromodulator category. History of Botox is interesting. It was originally indicated for the treatment of strabismus and blepharospasms back in 1989, and in 2002 it was approved for treatment of cervical dystonia, then excessive sweating in 2004, and chronic migraines in 2010, urinary continence in 2011. The application of the face, however, was a positive side effect of the strabismus treatment, as clinicians noted in that there was less wrinkling in the glabella area between each eye. Over the years, there have been thousands of clinical trials using neuromodulators, and to date, this category of drug is one of the most studied and most tested. Penicillin, vaccinations, and botanicals that are toxic are a good comparison because neuromodulators are small amounts of the bacteria botulin that is diluted and injected for therapeutic effects. You could compare this process to vaccinations or antibiotics that contain trace amounts of viruses or bacteria to create a desired effect for the immune system. There are some botanicals even that operate similarly. In fact, they are toxic when ingested in large amounts, but have healing therapeutic effects when given in minute dosages. And because Botox is a natural substance, the body is safely able to metabolize it and to remove it from the body. If you absolutely dislike the effect, it will wear off in about 3 to 4 months for most individuals. In our 20s and 30s, our collagen formation slows significantly, and we begin breaking down our collagen about 1 to 2% every year. In addition, we start to lose bone density, and when this happens, we begin to lose the structures and the foundation that our overlying tissue is supported by. To add to the fun, we have these fat pads, both superficial and deep, that help to create volume in our face. However, they shrink as we age and start to slip as the supporting collagen fibers weaken over time. While we have 43 muscles in our face, these tend to strengthen over time while the collagen fibers of the cutaneous tissue begin to weaken. This allows your muscles to pull wrinkles into being. Neuromodulators work at the junction where a nerve fiber meets a muscle fiber. There is a neurotransmitter that's released by the nerve called acetylcholine. And when this reaches the muscle can contract. A neuromodulator simply prevents the acetylcholine from reaching the muscle fiber, and so the muscle remains relaxed. It's like taking a magic eraser to your face and walking around with a healing brush Photoshop filter for about 3 months, depending on your metabolism. So how many units do you need? Well, we know that the FDA approves 20 units for the glabella area and 20 units for the forehead and 12 units for each eye. And this is primarily because the clinical studies demonstrated that these prescribed dosages allowed folks to get to the suggested 4-month duration. With that said, with every new patient, I personally like to find what I like to call their minimum effective dose. The happy place that's somewhere between no therapeutic effect and they're wasting their money to a completely frozen look. So starting out slow can really help us find the magic prescription for each individual. But this is my style and not every injector's method. So each person is entirely different, and because our face forms from back to front in the womb, our faces are not perfectly symmetrical, nor is the strength of the musculature equal on our left side and our right side. Therefore, each side of the face requires a separate assessment. Sometimes folks will have a stronger brow on one side and it'll pull a little bit more. In such cases, the stronger side will need a few more units than the other. We use insulin syringes for Botox application. The beauty of this is that the gauge is very high, making the size of the needle very small. Because of this, you don't need numbing cream, as it really doesn't hurt. But for my needle-shy patients, I have a few tricks to make the process relatively painless and easy if needed. As far as side effects, usually the most common side effects are a little tingling or slight ache in the areas of injection that wears off in a few hours. There have been known drops of the brow called ptosis, and this usually is caused by injecting too much in the no-fly zone, as we call it. And the good news is that under such conditions, a pharmaceutical drug can be prescribed, such as eye drops, to help reverse the process. And in worst cases, the product does wear off in 3 months. So seeing a licensed practitioner trained in assessing your anatomy and who has obtained proper injection training is really the best way to avoid this. The big question is, what do? I get asked a lot about how many units I use. And quite frankly, because I work out every day, I tend to metabolize it a little quicker than most. And in addition, I have what I call a 5 or 6 head rather than a 4 head. So in any given treatment, I will take between 55 and 65 units. I was hooked the first time I tried it. I no longer had a resting, angry face, and people stopped asking me if I was upset about something, and they quit telling me that I looked intimidating. I noticed that I looked more rested, and the mirror started reflecting more of how I felt on the inside. It was like a magic eraser took back the clock about 5 to 10 years, and numerous studies have actually shown that folks who get neuromodulators tend to be happier. If I was to hypothesize as to why this is so, I would guess it's because we can hold a lot of tension in our face because of the 43 muscles that are there, and this can cause a bit of stress and strain. Just like a great massage relaxes the body, when we relax our face, we release any tension our face may be holding on to, and thus any lines that are caused by this tension. So we not only physically relax our face, but mentally we feel more relaxed due to how more refreshed we look in the mirror. I don't have any necessarily medical evidence for this, but this is my theory. It's really important that you do your research when finding an injector. Looking at Yelp reviews is a really good idea. Going on to Real Self for recommended practitioners or making appointments or consults is the best method for finding your match. Start slow. After all, this is an elective process, right? So there's no rush. You can always add more as you dip your toes into the aesthetic waters. And if you're opposed to injectables, you can always look into facial acupuncture, PRPF injections, laser resurfacing, microneedling, ultrasound, PDO threads, and even some medical grade skincare to help relax the micro muscles of the face. The options are vast. That's kind of my point, that you really have so many things at your fingertips that you don't have to do injectables if that's not your bag. Again, my goal in this video is not to convince you that you need them or that you must try them. My objective really is to open up the conversation and to help people feel more comfortable with discussing their options. I really want everyone to feel free to ask questions in an effort to properly decide what is best for them. And I want to really stop the stigma of Botox and fillers and create a safe environment here on this channel. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. Your support means so much to me, and if you have made it through this video this far, I want to commend you. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and if you found it beneficial, share it with your friends and subscribe for more videos like this to help you achieve the optimum vibrancy and vitality that you look for. And as always, strive to supercharge your health and to simplify your lifestyle. Until the next video, my friend. Mwah.